Hi, I'm Herman Berliner, Hofstra's Provost and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs. I'm really sorry I can't be here this afternoon. I'm actually in the city on a seminar on the recession that we seem to be in and its impact on higher education. And since I suggested the topic, I really had to be there at the seminar. Bob was so special at Hofstra University. I'm glad I'm part of the memorial to recognize all that he's done. It was 1995 when Bill Blyer, one of my former students, and now a writer for Newsday, was busting my chops. He was complaining that we really weren't giving the kind of attention to journalism that we should. And then at the end of the conversation, what Bill said is, you know what you really need for this program? You really need either Bill Moyers or you need Bob Greene. That's the only thing that can really propel this program into the top ranks of journalism programs. And so we set out to get Bob Greene. I remember the first meeting with Bob at the University Club was Sylvia G. Lombardo, who was the acting dean of the School of Communication, and I, meeting with Bob, just chatting with him about journalism at Hofstra and whether he would be interested in coming to Hofstra University. And fortunately for us, he was very interested in coming to Hofstra University. Now, when a provost suggests a faculty member be hired by a department, that's usually not greeted by the greatest of enthusiasm. Departments like to come up with the faculty that they have in their departments themselves and make the recommendations to the dean and to the provost. This was the case of a provost and a dean making a recommendation to a department. And Sylvia and I held our breaths as we waited to see what the department would recommend. Bob had his 2 Pulitzer Prizes. He was highly regarded, respected in the entire journalism community for his courageous reporting. But Bob didn't have a college degree. What would the faculty committee recommend? Would they recommend he be hired? What would the disposition be of their deliberations? At the end of the day, the faculty made the correct recommendation, in my opinion. They recommended that Bob come in as a full professor of journalism. Clearly, with all his accomplishments, he deserved that particular honor. And once Bob came in, the program was transformed very, very quickly. The goal that Bob set for our program in journalism, which was the right goal, was that we were to be a nationally accredited program in journalism. At the present time, there are only 110 such programs. It's very special company, but Bob set out for us to get the accreditation, and he worked tirelessly at making that happen. Now, in all of this time, Bob was completing his transition to being a full-time faculty member at a university. And that transition was seamless. He was absolutely top-notch in the classroom. The students thought he was an outstanding teacher. He was brilliant in terms of his oversight of the program, and he was determined, as only Bob could be, in pursuing national accreditation. We were accredited in really a record amount of time, given when he started and the accreditation came through. And that really is due to all the good work of Bob. There were a lot of other people that helped, but Bob was the lead person, and Bob, in my opinion, will always get most of the credit. So when I think of Bob Greene, we are all familiar with Bob Greene, the crusading journalist, and all his accomplishments. But Bob's accomplishments in higher education were equally meaningful. He took our journalism department and helped transform it into a first-rate program. The university will always have a special place in its heart for Bob Greene and all that he meant to the students, the faculty, and all of Hofstra University. Thank you very much.